Okay, remote students, welcome back to art class. What we are going to accomplish today is your thumbnail drawing and your sketch on your watercolor paper. So as you see, most of us in class, we have already tape down our watercolor paper to a board, and you want to do that even at home. If you don't have watercolor paper that you purchased at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, you want to get a heavy duty type of paper, like maybe cardstock. And cardstock paper come in 8 by 10. Then you're going to tape that cardstock paper on some kind of hard surface, whatever hard surface that you have around the house. When you tape it, you're going to make sure that there is a border showing from the tape so that you will have a white border after you take the tape off that will show from your watercolor. This is so that we can frame your artwork in case of art shows. Okay, so that is step number one, getting your watercolor paper or cardstock paper together. I'm going to tell you sketchbook paper might not work unless it has a really thick quality to it. Some of you have the sketchbooks that says mixed media. That's fine to use because it has a thick enough quality in it for you to use paint on it. Okay, in remote students, you're going to be using watercolor only for this assignment. And all last week I posted for the watercolors that you would need. It is also on Google Classroom. It looks simply like this. It is a small thing of praying watercolor paint. You can get the 16 or you can get the 8, whichever one that suits you, okay? And you can see how this can be used as a palette, the top part. If you can, you can also get a set of Kimberly watercolor pencils or any kind of watercolor pencil that you can find at the store, okay? And a small set is fine. If you can't find the water, or if you can't get watercolor pencils, that's fine. All you need is then a $2 or $3 set of watercolor paints, and most of them have a brush that come with it. But if you want to, you can get different size brushes. All right. Then you need, of course, your heavy duty paper. Okay. As you see, there's a slideshow rotating around on your screen. This slideshow represents art of surrealism. A look into surrealism and what it is and how it is influenced is we are taking, just like what surrealism is, the dreamlike or the fantasy of of an image or something that you dreamed of and mixing it into realism, something real. So, what is going to be the something real that everybody's going to have in their art this week? It's going to be the hot air balloon. And you can see the hot air balloon photo reference that you must have in your art. Okay. And notice how it's in a perspective. It goes from small, where the box is, where people sit in box, and it goes large as it goes toward the sky. This is a one point perspective image. Everything that you add into it, like we can see the face and the landscape, it's like a double exposure look. It can be realism, as the little girl with the planets, and the planets can turn into the hot air balloons as they go away in the outer space. They can be like the door. The door can be cracked, and what's inside the door, hot air balloon, and it's floating away. This slideshow should be able to help you to come up with ideas for your painting. You want to come up this week before, and on the due date is there on Google Classroom. I don't remember what the due date is. It's probably October the 8th at 11 or 11:30. You want to submit to Google Classroom your thumbnail. That's number one. A thumbnail of the pre-sketch of what you want to accomplish. Okay, and the reason that we do thumbnails is so that we won't start on our big, nice final paper and mess it up. Okay, Number two, then you're going to sketch your idea on your final paper, okay, and turn it in. Those are the only two things that's due today. Now, if you start painting on it, that's good. That's all fan and then, especially if you know how to use watercolor and gouache, okay? But this week, we're especially going to focus right here on sketching, thumbnail, and sketching your final piece, okay? From there, we're actually going to start with watercolor and watercolor pencils, and we're going to learn the techniques and how we can apply it in our painting. And then two, we're going to move into, in class students are going to move into gouache, but you will complete your painting via watercolors. I'm going to create a video with me painting with watercolors, showing you different techniques to use with the watercolors, how to make them transparent, how to make them even opaque, and like using just the watercolors with less water. So there's different styles that you can come up with. The green apple assignment, it was due Friday. If you have put it on Google Classroom, it would be great. And pay attention to the syllabus, because anytime that you are turning it in, remote students, after the due date, you're deducted. That will not change. I will not be going back and changing grades so that you can participate in whatever extracurricular sport you are doing, and or anything, unless you have a doctor's note that is turned in at the front office. And I'm specifically saying that because there's too many of you that's not prioritizing your classes with your sports and extracurriculum. And I do not want to deal with the technology department anymore after this in changing grades, and I'm not allowed to anymore. That's how that is. So, with that said, you can get that green apple assignment in, but do note that it will be deducted. And this week we are working on the hot air balloon. If you have any questions, you can submit them underneath your drawing of the hot air balloon assignment with this. All right. So get that in, and I will see you guys another time when we start the watercolor painting, which probably will be soon. Bye bye.